Stop recording button.
Hello,
Double
my
tap to
yarn
activate.
lovers, my crafty and creative people. In today's video, we are going to learn how to make a granny square. So what you're looking at right now, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies, and I also happen to be visually impaired. So I knit and crochet by feel, and I do what I can to describe things on the internet to help make it accessible for other visually impaired people. So on the screen right now is a crocheted granny square. This is just a traditional granny square. It is crocheted in, here's the yarn label. This is just something that I grabbed out of a bag that I had here. This is Cascade 220 Superwash wool. This is in the color raspberry. And that's what you're looking at right now. I just made this one, right? It's fairly square. So that's what we're going to do today. Here's another little ball of the raspberry yarn. And we are going to use a 5.5 millimeter boy hook. I am right-handed, so my crochet hook will be in my right hand. Okay, so I've got my yarn tail in between my thumb and my index finger of my right hand, and then I'm going to slide my thumb and index finger of my left hand up on the yarn, maybe 4 or 5 inches from there, and then I'm going to pinch that yarn between my thumb and my index finger of my left hand. And then I'm going to drape the yarn. I'm going to start my granny square with a magic ring. So that's what we're doing right now. We're making a magic ring or a magic circle. Now this is not the only way to start a granny square or to make a magic ring. There is another way. You can chain 5, slip stitch it together, but I'm not good at that method, so I'm not teaching that method today. And of course there are other ways to make a magic ring, and I do have another tutorial on my channel about how to make a magic ring and what it's good for. Okay, so we've got the yarn. I've got it draped over my left hand, right, so that the yarn, about 4 inches of it is hanging down below my left hand. And then we've got the yarn pinched between my thumb and my index finger of my left hand. And I'm going to drape the yarn over the back of my index finger and my middle finger of my left hand. And then I'm going to take the yarn and I'm going to bring it down through in between my middle finger and my ring finger on my left hand. I'm going to bring it underneath, right on the palm side, underneath the middle finger, underneath the index finger, and then we're going to come back around to the top and we're going to cross it. We want to make an X on the back of our hand, and we want the X to be, roughly so that the center of it, of the X between the two strands, right, so that they cross over each other, is between our index finger and our middle finger. And then when we take the yarn across the back of our hand again to make the second part of that X, we're going to bring the yarn across, this time not only the index finger and the middle finger, but also the ring finger. So the second strand is across the back of 2 fingers, whereas the first strand is only across the back of 1. And now we're going to take the yarn and we're just going to bring it down between our ring finger and our pinky. Okay, and now we're going to take the crochet hook, which I have in my right hand, and I have it hook side up, and I'm going to go underneath the first strand. So in between the index finger and the middle finger, I take the hook and we go underneath the front strand. And then we turn the hook, we twist it so it's facing downward, so it's hooked down so that it can actually hook that second strand. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We want to hook that back strand with our crochet hook, pull it through so we pull it forward underneath the front strand, right? So that it's now between our index finger and our middle finger. And then we want to twist it up. Oops. Oh my goodness, I just lost it. And that can happen. Okay, we're going to do it again. We're going to go in between the index finger and the middle finger. We're going to go underneath the front strand. And then we're going to twist our hook, point it down, grab the strand, pull it through underneath the second strand so that it's now in front. We're going to twist our hook, and I have now made a loop on my crochet hook. So I now have 1 loop of yarn on my crochet hook. Now I want to take the hook over, slide it over just a little bit so it goes now to the back strand where it crosses between my middle finger and my ring finger. And I now want to take that hook and I want to stick it again. I'm going to turn it hook side down. I'm going to go underneath the strand there. I'm going to hook it again, and then this time we're going to pull it through. We're going to twist our hook again, and we're going to pull it through. And if you have to use your fingers like I'm doing because you're visually impaired and you don't have eye-hand coordination and you can't see what you're doing, then you want to get that second strand onto the hook, and then you want to take the first strand, right, and you want to pull it over the top. If you can twist your hook and do it, that's great. But if you need to manipulate it with your fingers and do it, that is also great, okay? That's basically what you want to do, though, is you want to pull that second strand up over the top. And so now you've made a magic ring where basically you've got a ring, right? And you've got the ball end, that's what we're going to work off of. And then we've got a little tail coming off. And the tail you're going to be able to cinch down, and that's what you want. You want to be able to work into this ring that we've made. It's an adjustable ring, and then we want to be able to tighten it down. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to chain 2. Now some people chain 3 for the first double crochet. We're not going to do that. I just like the chain 2 better, but you do need to remember to not chain too tightly. That was something that I struggled with, is chaining too tightly. So we chained 1, we chained 2. That is our first double crochet. Okay, now we're going to do another double crochet. I have my yarn tensioned between my index finger and my middle finger of my left hand. It's nice and taut so I know where it's at. As somebody who's visually impaired, it's important to try to have your yarn tensioned so you know where it's at. So now I'm going to stick my hook. I'm going to take my hook down. I'm going to dive it underneath that strand of yarn. I'm going to grab the yarn. So I've got 2 loops on the hook now. I'm going to go into the magic ring that we just made. With my hook, I'm going to grab the yarn. You can be able to feel it because it's tension tight. And I'm going to pull that hook back through the ring. I now have 3 strands of yarn on the hook. We want to yarn over the hook again. And then we want to twist our hook. And we're going to want to go through 1. Let's see, we want to go through the first strand of yarn, right? And then we want to twist our hook, and we want to make sure if you can do it at once, that's great. But if you're visually impaired and you don't have eye-hand coordination and you can't see what you're doing, then you can take your thumb and your index finger and pull that yarn over the top, okay? So now I've got 2 loops on my hook. That was the first half of the double crochet. You want to yarn over your hook again. You want to twist your hook and you want to pull it through 2 loops. That is a double crochet. Okay, so we have a chain 2 and a double crochet, and we want to make that double crochet again. So we want 1 loop on the hook. We want to yarn over. We want to stick our hook down through the ring. We want to grab the yarn. We want to pull it back through 3 loops on our hook. We want to twist our hook. We want to yarn over again. So we have 3 loops. The yarn over makes 4. We want to twist our hook. We want to pull it through the first 2, and now we're back to 2 loops on our hook. And then we want to yarn over again, and we want to twist our hook, and we want to pull it through both loops. We are back to 1 loop on our hook, okay? So now we should have the chain 2, which is going to count as our first double crochet, and then we've got a double crochet and a double crochet. And now we want to chain 2. So we've chained 2. And now we're going to make another double crochet. Yarn over into the ring, grab the yarn, yarn over, twist the hook, pull it through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, another double crochet. All right, now make another one, yarn over into the ring, grab the yarn, bring it through. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through. Let's see, yarn over and pull through. Let's see if I can do this. Pull through 2. Okay. Let's see. So now we've got 2 there. We want to do another one. We want to yarn over, down into the ring, grab the yarn, bring it back through, twist our hook, yarn over, pull through 1 strand, ooh, yarn over, pull through 1 strand, pull through. If you got to grab your 2nd strand there and pull it through, it can be difficult when you can't see what you're doing to only pull it through the first 2 strands and not all the strands. So if you have to do it that way, and then you want to yarn over and twist your hook, yarn over, twist your hook and pull through 2. Okay, so now we should have another grouping of 3 double crochets. And now we want to chain 2, chain 1, chain 2, and we want to do that again. We want to have 4 groupings of 3 double crochets, right? Because we're making a square. We are making a granny square, and so to make a granny square, you need to have 4 sides. Okay, so that's 1 double crochet. We're going to yarn over into the ring, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over, pull through 2. And now we're going to make another one. I'll squeeze those together. You can push them back on the ring. You can squeeze them together. Put them in a little cluster there for you. Okay. Oops, I missed that one. Oh. Let me try it one more time. I have to record at a really odd angle to get this right on this camera. Okay, there's another group of 3 double crochets. I just work on my cell phone and I just have it on a little boom, chain 2, and then we're going to yarn over into the ring, pull it through, yarn over, twist the hook, make another double half, there's another half, pull it through, there's another double crochet, and then we want to yarn over the hook into the ring, pull the yarn back up, yarn over, pull through the 2nd half of the double crochet. There is, let's see, I got 2 more after that last chain. I've got 1 more to go. Yarn over into the ring, yarn over, and then yarn over, pull through. Okay, so now I should have basically 4 groupings. When we count the chain 2, and we have a corner, we have to count the chain 2, 2 more double crochets, and then we have the chain 2, that's your corner, 3 more double crochets, chain 2, that's your corner, 3 double crochets, chain 2, that's your corner, 3 double crochets. Now, and I have a more in-depth video on my channel of how to double crochet by feel. If you're visually impaired and you want to know more of the details of how to double crochet by feel, you can look that up on my channel. I am going to, I just lost my loop. I'm going to chain 2 because we've got to make our last corner. So we're going to chain 2. And then we want to find the top of this first chain 2 that we made, and we want to slip stitch into the top of that chain. I think I only got 1 loop of it though, so we want to, preferably, it can be really hard to find it by feel, the top of the chain and getting it under both loops, but you want to slip stitch under both loops of that, pull your yarn through, and then slip stitch it together. Okay, so now I really can pull the center. That's the point of making the magic ring, is you can pull that center nice and tight. So now you can start to see that we are actually forming a square, right? Once you pull that magic ring in, so it's tight, you can see that you should be able to feel it, where those chain twos are your corners, and then you should have 4 groupings of your 3 double crochets. So you've got your 4 sides of your square. So that is round 1 of how to make a granny square. If you did it, congratulations. You've just completed round 1 of your granny square. So now we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch. So you just stick your hook underneath the top 2 loops, pull the yarn through, and then we're not even doing a single crochet, we're just slip stitching. And then we're going to go over to the next door neighbor underneath the top 2 loops into that stitch, yarn over, pull our hook through, pull the loop through, and now we want to get to the next corner. Okay, so we're going to stick our hook into that corner space, pull through, and we want to slip stitch into that corner. And here's where we're going to start our next corner. We're going to chain 1, we're going to chain 2. I start with a chain 2. If you want to start with a chain 3, by all means, you start with a chain 3. We are going to do another double crochet. There's 1 double crochet. We're going to do another double crochet. We are counting the chain 2 as 1 double crochet. So we have the chain 2 plus 2 double crochet. Now we want to chain 1, chain 2 to form our corner, and then we're going to yarn over. We're going to go back into the very same chain 2 corner space that we've been working in. We're going to grab our yarn, pull it through. We're going to do another double crochet. That's 1 more double crochet. We're going to do a second double crochet, and now we're going to do a third double crochet into that same space. So now we're starting a corner of round 2. You should have your chain 2 plus 2 more double crochet, a chain 2 for the corner, and then 3 double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1. And it's important, some people don't chain. For me, it works better because I crochet tightly. You want to make sure you don't make this chain too tight, or it will really pull the sides of your square in. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to move right on over to the very next chain 2 space, right? That's your next corner. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go into that chain 2 space, and we're going to make another double crochet. That's 1. Oops, I messed that one up. Okay. That's 1. That's 2. Into that same chain 2 corner space. That's 3. So we've got 3. We want to do a chain 1, chain 2. And then we're going to make 2 more, or 3 more double crochet. After the chain 2, you want to work 3 more double crochets into the chain 2 corner space. And then you want to chain 1, and then you want to go over to your next chain 2 corner space. You want to go into the space, you want to yarn over, pull through. That's 1 double crochet into the space, 2 double crochets into the space, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then guess what? 3 more double crochets. All right, so in this granny square, every corner is made up of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And there we go. There's another corner that we just did. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. I go ahead and chain 1 because I crochet tight. And you don't want your chain 1 to be too loose or too tight or too loose either. You want to kind of keep it, monitor your tension on that. And then we're going to move on over to the next chain 2 corner space. And just like before, we're going to make a double crochet. Oopsie. Almost went into my chain 1 space there. Double crochet as 2 into the chain 2 space, pull up the loop, double crochet. Okay, I've got 3 double crochets there. Now I want to chain 1 and chain 2 for the corner, and then we want to work back into the same chain 2 corner space we were just working in, and we want to put another double crochet, another, a second double crochet, and then we want to put in a third double crochet. Every corner is made up of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And now we can feel that we are back to where we started from. So once again, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to find the top loop of my chain 2 of my starting chain 2. I want to go under both loops of that. I don't think I made it under both loops. Okay. Yeah, getting to your top chain and then feeling it and separating it and getting underneath just the top 2 chains can be tricky. So there we go. I got it through there, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top, the second chain of that initial starting chain 2. And here we have round 2 of our granny square is complete. And if you lay it down flat, you can kind of square it out. You can pull out your corners a little bit, and you should be able to feel that you are starting to get a square. It should feel more like a square when you stretch it and you pull it out. You should be able to feel that you have your sets of 3 double crochet, chain 2 for the corner, and 3 double crochet. And now you'll feel where you have your chain 1 space. There'll be a new little hole there. And then there'll be the next corner of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And that should be going all the way around your square on all 4 sides. If you're visually impaired, definitely take the time to feel all 4 sides. Make sure it feels, pretty even and symmetrical. Make sure that you've got your chain spaces, that you've got 4 sides, 4 corners. Okay, so now we want to go into the stitch next door under the top of it. We want to stick our hook in underneath the top 2 loops. Yarn over, pull the yarn through, and slip stitch into that stitch. You want to go to the next stitch. You want to stick your hook in there. You want to yarn over, pull it through. You want to slip stitch. Oops, let's see. Yeah, sometimes it's just easier for me to grab that loop with my thumb and index finger and pull it over the top. And then I'm going to go into, that should put me right next to the chain 2 space, the corner. And that's where you want to stick your hook in the corner, grab the yarn, pull it through, and slip stitch into that corner. And now we're ready to start round 3. I'm going to chain 1. Chain 2. If you don't make your chains too tight, it's easier to work into them. Okay, we are going to start with another double crochet. Double crochet. The chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. So now for this first one, that means we only need 2 more. And now we want to chain 1 and chain 2. And then we want to work back in to the same chain 2 space that we've been working in, and we want to put 3 more. Oops, I didn't finish that double crochet. We want to put 3 more, that's 1, so 2 more double crochet into that chain 2 corner. Okay, so we should have our chain 2, which counts as our first double crochet, 2 more double crochet, a chain 2, and 3 double crochet. That's our first corner. We want to go ahead and chain 1, and then we want to feel along the side, and we're going to feel that chain 1 space that we made. And now in there, we're going to work in there, and we are going to put in the same, we're going to put in 3 double crochet. That's 1, that's 2, and then we're going to put in 1 more. Now we're working on the side of our square, so we don't want to make a corner here. That's something to really learn, right? That when you're working on the side, you don't want to make a corner. You just want to make a side. So we're just going to put 3 double crochet into the chain 2 space. Then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to move on over to the next chain 2 corner space, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to put in that we do in all of our corners. We are going to put in, oopsie, almost missed that. And that's easy to do when you're visually impaired, to think that you pulled it through all the loops and you don't. So sometimes you've really got to, in fact, I don't think, I'm going to go back. I am going to go back and take out those first 2 double crochets that I made, because I'm not positive I got those done. And if they don't quite feel right to you when you're visually impaired, just rip them out and do them again, okay? But sometimes when you're doing a double crochet by feel, you'll think that you've pulled it through just the first 2 loops and you've only pulled it through 1, or you think that you pulled it through 2 and you pulled it through all 3. So it's something that you really want to feel your work often when you can't see what's happening really out there in space on your hook, right? So we got 3 double crochet in the corner. We want to chain 1, chain 2, and then we want to put in 3 more double crochet. Oopsie, I am having a hard time working at this angle. And that is 3 more double crochet. So we've got another corner done, right? 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So now we want to do our chain 1, and that's going to move us over to our side, our chain 3 space in the side. And we want to go ahead and put 3 double crochet into our chain 3 or our chain 1 space there on the side of our square. And then we want to chain 1 because we're just working a side, not a corner. And we want to move over to our next chain 2 corner space. And we want to put in, let me start that one again. I'm not sure what I was doing there. Okay, we're going to work into the chain 2 corner space. That's 1 double crochet. That's 2 double crochets. I'm going to put in 3 double crochets, and then we work on a corner, so we want to chain 2, and then we want to put in 3 more. Oops, I did not pull it through the last loop of my double crochet. I need 1 more double crochet into the corner. Okay, so that's another corner complete, right? We got 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and now we want to chain 1, and we're going to move on over to our next chain 1 space on the side, and if it's a side space, it gets 3 double crochet into the chain 1 space. Into the chain 1 space on the side. And then we want to chain 1 again, chain 1, and then we want to slide over to the next corner, which we'll still stick our finger into that chain 2 space. And because this is a corner, we want to go ahead and work 3 double crochet and a chain 2 and 3 double crochet, right? That's the corner. Every corner gets the 3 double crochet, chain 2. Did I do that one right? I think so. I think so. I gotta get my chain 2, chain 2, and now I've got to put my 3 more double crochet in for the other half of my corner. Turn over into that corner space. Okay, so we've got the corner is complete. We've got 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Now we want to chain 1 for our side space, and we should have 1 more side chain 1 space to work into. And just like all the other sides, we are going to put 3, oopsie, I missed that one. I've been crocheting and I still mess that up. Because I can't see what exactly is happening in there, I often still miss a stitch and I have to work it over again. So if you're visually impaired and you are crocheting by feel and you often miss stitches and you often have to rework stitches, don't feel bad. So that is 3 double crochet into the side of the square, the chain 1 space, and now we chain 1, and then we want to feel, we're back to the starting corner where we have started with the chain 2. So we want to feel, we got chain 1 and chain 2. The top chain of that chain 2 is where we want to slip stitch. So we want to stick our hook into, I missed it. This is really tricky for me. I'd be lying if I said that this part is easy for me. It is not. Okay, so we want to slip stitch into, I think I still missed it. I think I'm in the space. Yeah, I think I am still in the space. So I've got to feel the top chain of the top 2 chains. And then I want to work into the top of that second chain and slip stitch. Okay, and just like before, now we're going to slip stitch into the stitch next door to the chain 2, and we're going to slip stitch into the next chain, and then just a second, actually, we can lay our square down again and check it out right before we move on to working the next round 4. Let's lay our square down flat. Let's pull our little bunny ear up, right, so that we don't lose it. And let's take a minute to stretch out our square. If you can see, you can visualize it. If you are visually impaired, it's a great time to feel it. It's a great time to make sure that you have 4 corners and only 4 corners, right? That you didn't accidentally work a corner into one of your chain spaces. And what you'll notice is that you still have your 4 corners made up of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. And now along the side, you're going to have a chain 1 space, 3 double crochet, another chain 1 space before the corner. So now you have 2 chain 2 spaces to work into. Okay, we have slip stitched our way into the next corner space. And guess what? We're going to work this just like we did before. All the other corners. We're going to, oh, I might still be, okay, see, that's important. I was not in my corner space. I was in the top of my stitch there still. Definitely check that out when you're visually impaired and make sure that you are in the corner space. So I want to go over one more, stick my hook in, slip stitch into my corner space, and then we want to chain 2, and we want to start this square again. Got our chain 2 into the corner. We're going to do a double crochet and another and another double crochet. And now we want to chain 2, and we want to work the second half of our corner with 1 double crochet, and we're going to do a second double crochet, and we're going to work a third because we're making a corner, and every corner is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. All right, so the first corner of round 4 is in place. We got our chain 2, our 2 double crochet, chain 2 for the corner, and 2 double crochet. Now we want to chain 1, and then we want to move over to the first side space, and because it's a side space, we're going to put in 3 double crochets, that's 2. I got to get one more in there. Got to not miss my yarn when I go into the space. I do that sometimes. I do miss the yarn sometimes. I think I grab it. Okay, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slide over because we've got 2 chain 1 spaces on the side of this square, and in every side chain 1 space you want to put 3 double crochets. See, I pulled my hook out, and that does happen when you can't see what you're doing. You pull your hook out of all of the loops. Okay, I have 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space. I need to put 3. You need 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space on the side, and then you chain 1. We're creating, guess what? A third. And now we want to go to the next corner, and we want to make another corner. I think I messed up that stitch. I'm going to start it again. And if it feels like you didn't get it right and you're visually impaired, then just go ahead and start the stitch again. That is okay. So that's 1 double crochet into my corner. That's 2 double crochets into my corner. That is 3 double crochets into my corner. We're going to do chain 2, and then because we're making a corner, we're going to go back into the space and make 3 double crochets. Okay, so that's another corner. That corner should be made up if you can stop and feel it. 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then we are going to chain 1, and then we're going to move over to the chain space on the side and the first chain space, and we're going to put in 'just like all the other side spaces, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and then we want to move over to the next side, chain 1 space, and we want to work 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space, and then you want to chain 1, and then we're back to another corner, right? We're back to another chain 2 space in the corner, and this corner, just like all the other corners, is going to get 3 double crochets, and then we're going to do a chain 2 to form the corner, and then we're going to work right back into the same chain 2 corner space that we've been working into, and we're going to put in 3 more double crochets to form the second half of our corner. I missed my stitch. Put it back in, pull through. I'm going to chain 1. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera because I'm pretty sure you don't need to watch me make this entire square. But what we're going to do after we got this corner done and we chain 1, we're going to go into this next chain 1 side space. We're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1. We're going to go to this next chain 1 space on the side. We're going to work 3 double crochets, chain 1. That will bring us to this next corner where we work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. We're going to go back to a side. We're going to have 2 more side spaces. In each side space, we're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and that will take us back to the beginning of the square. I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to let you work independently, but if you need to go back and rewind the video and see it again, by all means, you do that at your own pace as many times as you need. I'll get back with you at the end of my round. Okay, so we have made it to the end of round 4 on our granny square, and I think that's pretty much all that you need to see. Making a granny square is the same thing, right? This one that I showed you is 5 rounds, but it's the exact same concept. If you wanted to make this bigger, once you connected to your slip stitch, you would slip stitch into the next chain, slip stitch into the next, or to the next stitch, slip stitch into the next stitch, slip stitch into the chain 2 corner space, and begin again. Now granny squares, most of us have probably seen them. You've seen granny square blankets, right? That was a big thing in the 60s. My grandmas and aunties, everybody had granny square blankets on the back of the couch. They're very, very retro 1960s. So most of us, you could just take this square and make it like a 40 by 40 inch. You could just keep going round and round and round and make a big 40-inch square blanket. That's what you could do. You could make one giant square. The other thing that you could do is you could make multiple. You could decide you want yours to do the 4 rounds like mine, or do 5, and you could make them in different colors, and you could slip stitch them together, and you could make a whole blanket. You can make pillow shams out of these, right? My grandmother used to make us pillow covers with these. We had granny square covered pillows. Today, people are making like tote bags out of them where they sew them together. And then make like a little square or rectangular bag. People are putting granny squares on clothing, on shirts, on the sleeves of sweaters. The possibilities with granny squares are endless. I have shown on my channel, and this is just your basic granny square. And then there are so many other types and styles and slightly different versions of granny squares. So once you master the plain granny square, you can then play around with color, right? We just did one color today. When you're doing your first granny square, there's no need to complicate it with color changes. But of course, once you master the granny square, you can change colors every single round if you want. Or you could do 2 rounds in one color, 2 rounds in another color. You could go back and forth. You can change rounds every color if you want. That's entirely up to you. Make it whatever color scheme that you want. You can use variegated and solids. The possibilities for granny squares are truly, truly endless. Once you get it, then you can get all the different variations and the lace and the ones that start with a circle. The skirt that you've seen on my channel many times is just, it's like a floral granny square. And then we square the circle into a square, and I made those into a skirt. So you can put them on clothing, you can put them on tops, you can use them as pockets for things. You can make just like a whole bunch of these and make them into a scarf, right? So the possibilities with granny squares are truly endless today. All you have to do is Google granny squares, crochet granny squares, and you will literally find thousands and thousands of patterns and ideas. Okay, well, thank you always for listening. That's your tutorial today on how to make a granny square. Until next time, my friends, happy stitching. Pause.